welcome back. We're on day 8 of this 10-day Improve Your Salsa Challenge. Today's lesson is all about turning. So we're first going to talk about how to properly spot with your head, and then we're going to cover 3 of the most common salsa turns there are: the pivot, the left turn, and the walk around turn. I'm first going to give a brief explanation of how to properly execute each one of those turns, and then I'm going to give you some styling options for each one. So let's get into it. Before we get into the 3 turns that we're going to work on today, I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I did a How to Improve Your Salsa challenge and did not address how to properly spot when we turn. Because of the quantity of turns that we do in salsa, spotting is super important, not just for function so that we don't get dizzy and so the timing of our turns are correct, but also aesthetically it makes your dancing look much nicer. It takes it up a level for sure. So before we get into any specific turn style, which we will do, I want to just talk about proper spotting technique. So, in order to feel what your head is supposed to do when you spot, what I like to do is just do this with my feet, gradually turning my body and leaving the head behind as much as we can. So just like we did with our head on the first day with the isolations, I'm going to turn until my chin is over my shoulder, as long as I can possibly leave it without it causing me any pain. And then when I can no longer leave my head behind, I'm going to turn my head over the other shoulder and finish the turn. Common mistakes that people make when they try to spot or they think they're spotting. One is just turning and looking back at the same point that they started at. My head did not move at all, so that is not spotting, okay? The second mistake is they'll do the first half correctly and then bring the head back into neutral and come back to where they started. Also not correct because it's got all the build-up, but then none of the finish, yeah? So we just are doing the first half. You didn't see any snap in my head. It didn't add anything to the turn. So the correct way is I leave my head behind so that it goes over one shoulder, then I snap it over the other shoulder, and then finish the turn with my body. So now let's try that on the other side. So I'm going to turn this way, my head goes over my shoulder, snap, and finish the turn. Again, turn, snap, finish the turn. So that's something that I want us to be thinking about as we're doing all 3 of the turns today. When I do my pivot turn, I leave my head over my left shoulder, then it comes over my right shoulder, and it helps me finish the turn. When I do my left turn, I leave my head over my right shoulder, over the left, and it helps me finish the turn. When I do my walk around turn, I leave my head over my left, and then snap it over the right to help me finish the turn. Okay, so let's start with our pivot turn or our right turn, okay? So the pivot turn looks like this: 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Okay? So just some quick notes about what the feet and body are doing before we add our styling on top of that. We're going to step forward on the left. We're going to leave the feet where they are, rotate, transfer the weight to the right, and finish the turn on the right, bringing the feet back together. So I go back on the right, forward, turn, feet together, and then I'm ready to go back on my right. Very important that we take nice small steps when we're doing this turn, that we step straight forward with the left. To start the turn, we're going to create just a tiny little torque in the body in the opposite direction of where we're going to be turning. In other words, to the left. So as I step forward on the left, I'm just rotating my chest just a little bit to the left to kind of wind up for my turn. Then I turn my hips, and then I bring my upper body around to finish. So again, I'll do that facing away. We go 1, 2, 3, 5. As you can see, my shoulders are rotating just slightly, not this much, just a tad, maybe not even an eighth of a turn. I rotate my hips, and I finish the turn using my shoulders. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so that's the turn. Now we're going to add some style on top of it. So there are a million styling options when it comes to turns. Because we're doing 3 different turns today, I want to do 3 different styling options. So we're going to do one variation of the feet, one variation with the arms, and one with the head, just so you can see how versatile you can really make your turns. So in the case of the pivot turn, the first turn that we're doing today, I'm going to do a ronde with my right foot coming out of the pivot turn. So it looks like this. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and 1. So all I'm doing is my normal pivot turn. 1, 2, 3. I go 5, 6. And as I replace my weight onto my left on 7, I'm releasing the weight off my right, doing a small ronde, bringing my feet back together on the and, or the 8, and then I can step back on my right on 1. This turn, I'm not using a lot of arm styling. I will say that I do find it comfortable to bring my hands down to my thighs as I do the ronde, as sometimes having the arms out to the side along with the ronde can give us a little bit too much momentum. I find that bringing the hands down helps stop my turn a little bit. So I go 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. However, if you feel more comfortable doing something else with your arms as you do the ronde, that is totally fine. Now let's practice it a few times. I'll face away so that you can follow along. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so the second turn that we're going to be looking at today is the left turn, which looks like this. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 1. Okay, so same thing. That's a common thread in all 3 of the turns that we're going to be doing today is we're turning on 5, 6, 7. So I'm going back on my right, forward on my left, just like I did in the pivot turn. However, now instead of rotating to the right, I'm going to step back onto my right foot and rotate on my right to the left. So I'll show you from the side. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and I'm turning on my right, then I step on my left on 7 and bring my right foot around so that I can step back. Now from behind, I'm going 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3. I go forward, and back, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so now some styling options that we're going to use for this turn. In this one, I'm going to be using my arms. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so when I step forward on my left, 1, 2, 3. Actually, on 3, I'll say I'm gathering my hands in toward my chest. So I go 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to create a circle going forward with my left and back with my right. Forward with the left, back with the right. I'll do that facing away, forward and back simultaneously. So I go 1, 2, gather 3, 5. Okay? Facing away. 1, 2, 3, 5. Now on 6, I'm going to bring my arms in. So I'm going to drop the right one over my head, and I'm going to bring the left one across my torso, like this. So I end up in this position. So I went 5, 6, and then as I come around on 7, I'm going to open the arms and do some wrist circles, which we talked about in the arm styling video, okay? So the whole thing from behind is like this. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Again. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3. I like. One last time. We go. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. So the third and final turn that we're doing today is just a simple walk around turn that we use in Cuban salsa. So it looks like this. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Okay? So very simple. I'm going to do 1, 2, and the leader is going to lead my turn on 3. So I'm changing my direction on 3, which is something that we didn't do in the previous 2 turns. So it's a little bit of a departure. So we go 1, 2, and I'm turning a quarter of a turn to the right on 3. And then here, I'm walking around in a circle because I want to get back to the point that I started in. So we are not going to dance this as a pivot turn. We are dancing it as a walk around turn. So I go 1, 2, 3, walk around, and I'm maintaining my Cuban motion and my torso movement and my arm movement that we worked on in past lessons, okay? So that's the basic format of the turn. And now I'm going to add a head movement onto it to give it a little extra style. So instead of just doing a normal spot in this turn, I'm actually going to tilt my head back and kind of feel as though I'm leaving my head in one spot and bringing my body back around. So it looks like this. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 1. So this is a head movement that I use very frequently in turns, and I get comments about it all the time, like, how do you do that with your head? That's so cool. And it's very simple, but it also is kind of a fun way to play with your partner if you're dancing with somebody, because it looks as if you really don't want to look away from them. So it's a little less mechanical than a normal spot. So all I'm doing is, as usual, I'm going to leave my head behind, facing forward as I start to turn my body. This is where those head isolations that we did on the very first day are going to come into use here, apart from just helping us with our posture. So we're going 1, 2, 3, and now I'm going to tilt my head back as I turn, as if I'm trying to keep eye contact with my partner, even though my body's turning. Now, unless you have an incredible range of motion in your head, this isn't possible, but the point is that we are attempting to do it, and that's what gives us the look we're going for. So I go 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and 1. Okay, so facing away, we go 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and 1. Thanks so much for joining me for day 8 of this 10-day Improve Your Salsa Challenge. Be sure to come back tomorrow for the next lesson.
Thanks so much for joining me for today's lesson. Leave a comment below and let me know how you did. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the post notifications for my channel. You can also follow me on Instagram at Dance Doctor Online. Until next time, keep dancing.